go catch you when you dey fall.
Why do I make mistakes? Giving me your hand, I go my way. Oh God, I made a mistake. It's your real love that keeps me going. Oh, please don't leave me on my own. Oh, I don't even know where I'm going, Lord. There's many dangers on the road. Oh, I'ma fall if I'm on my own. If you leave me, Lord, I'ma make mistakes. If I live my life without you, I go astray. It's like a car that is with no brakes. I follow on.
Done. I'm tired. I just want to drop out to bed too, because obviously I know people that wish they were in my position be here, but this is not. It's not fulfilling. I just can't be here next year. I can't be in the same position. The first day of school was honestly amazing. I remember coming in just so excited that I got a fresh start and I would be in the city studying. I was super duper ecstatic, and I was intending to major in molecular biology, immunology, and disease while double majoring in health sciences. And so I had the intentions of pursuing grad school, professional school, whatever. I wasn't naive to the fact that U of T has a very high reputation. It's an incredibly rigorous institution. What made it difficult was just how challenging it was to maintain high grades. Even though I was still within the distinction and high distinction range, the amount of effort required to keep my GPA pretty high was incredibly demanding. And as a student who was considered graduate school, GPA was pretty much the bare minimum. And I was questioning, if it takes me this much effort to essentially tick off a minimum requirement, I was like, how am I going to tick off all these things, my extracurriculars, my involvement? It starts to become a lot of just thinking and thinking and thinking. I think that no matter what school you go to, certain programs are going to be more difficult. I'm talking from the perspective of being a STEM major, so certain majors are definitely going to be more difficult, and life sciences at U of T is one of those majors that will have you really questioning your life. It really did become unbearable for me, and I'm speaking from the position of a kid that genuinely loves to study. After coming back to school from Christmas break, I realized just how exhausted I actually was. I think a part of it was definitely burnout from 12th grade. Now, I had moved across the country my last year of high school to go to a new province, which had a whole entire new curriculum, which was just absolutely hectic considering I had moved less than 2 months before starting high school. I realized after Christmas break that I might actually just be burnt out. And so instead of resting, I tried to fix it by becoming even more disciplined. I thought that I was just perhaps getting, discouraged. And I started waking up at 4 a.m. every day to study. Looking back, I think that says a lot about the mindset I was in. I thought the solution to being exhausted was to just work harder. The thing is, the harder I worked, the more pushed towards becoming more disciplined, the more miserable I genuinely got. And I think the reason was I was actually just falling out of love with my degree, and I was losing a lot of interest in what I was studying. I went through so many majors trying to find the right one, and I still didn't come to a conclusion on what it was that I wanted to study. And then, of course, with the environment and just really losing that connection as to why I initially chose the school, it was just all building up on top of each other. And honestly, I didn't really know what I was doing anymore, at all. By the end of winter semester, I just couldn't stop thinking about transferring or dropping out. I talked to my parents, my family, and eventually they told me to just come back and take some time to think about my options. So I packed my dorm and left, not even knowing whether I would return. And against my better judgment, I came back to U of T, not for 1, 2, but 3 more semesters. I came back for the summer, fall, and winter of my second year, where I also was able to fast track some courses and take third year courses during my second year of undergrad. And so coming back was honestly partly an attempt to convince myself to stay. I knew I could finish the degree in probably less than 4 years, or at the 4-year mark, but a semester or two earlier. But my mental health was really struggling. I will say that academically, things were actually improving. So when people do say that things do get better at U of T, I actually do second guess that, because I actually started doing way better, and I wasn't even studying as much as first year. That brings me to now. My last few moments as a U of T student, which no longer exists because I've dropped out. I never thought that I would ever say those words, I dropped out. And as painful as it is to say that, I don't think dropping out means I failed. For a long time, that was one of the things that held me back. I was terrified that leaving would mean I had failed in some way. I had worked so hard toward this thing, getting into university, for years. I had dreamed about it. I had built so much of my identity around getting here. So how could I work that hard for something and realize I just didn't want it anymore? And I think that says so much about human nature, is that we have like this glorified version of what we think life is supposed to be, when things don't actually always happen the way that we imagine them to be. So leaving wasn't this impulsive decision. It wasn't an easy way out. It was a decision that took almost 2 years of questioning, uncertainty, fear, and grief, and honestly trying to convince myself to stay. I kept asking myself if it was worth it, and eventually I realized I just couldn't convince myself to stay anymore. The longer I stayed, the more unhappy I became, and I had to grapple with dismantling my fear of failure and what it actually means to be a failure. And I'm really making this to remind myself that taking a break, changing direction, or starting over is not indicative of failure. For so much of my life, I've tried to keep going even when something was hurting me, because I didn't want to disappoint other people, and most importantly, I didn't want to let myself down. It takes a lot of courage to walk away from a place that no longer nourishes you, even if a lot of people don't support that decision. Maybe the little girl who dreamed about going to one of the best universities in the world would be confused by where she is now, but I hope she's also proud of herself, because for once, she listened to herself. She didn't push back her feelings. She didn't let other people's opinions dictate her decisions. No, she stood 10 toes down. She had the courage to start over. So here I am, leaving U of T, starting over. But starting over isn't the end of the story. Sometimes it's the beginning of something even better. It's the last week of school.
This is Kevin for 2024. Oh, it's 2026.
Yeah.
But today is January 3rd, 2026, and it's 2:30 p.m. 2:31.
Tell you my oven.
Okay, we're gonna get to oven story.
She wants to take in my life, the way she rides in my bed. Toto spits water, Anita, the way you bend down. Jọ̀wọ́ máa lọ́ra, Anita, jọ̀wọ́ máa lọ́ra, Anita,
Why are we saying that?
jọ̀wọ́ máa lọ́ra. Truly, I've been saying to you, make you just give me just time I got you. You get the value when you want to do. My mama, sister, my
Dirty Diana, ti fuse gangan.